so much for winding down the month of August. Let's bring in Jared Levy, the Chief Market Strategist at Peak American Financial Group. As a trader and an investor, this is becoming one of the hotter times in the market, especially with that Fed head meeting coming up in the annual symposium in beautiful Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It starts on Thursday. What are your three keys to trading the market this week?
Yeah, definitely not winding down right now for me, I'll tell you. And you're right. Here we are. Schools have started. Obviously all eyes right now, and a lot of my attention is on Jackson Hole. There obviously the annual conference that goes on. We're going to hear from a lot of economists, a lot of professionals, some Fed officials on what's the state of things. What do they really believe? During these conferences, we can get a lot of color as to the real sentiment. Remember, the Fed's got to do a very delicate job of disseminating a lot of information that keeps everybody feeling okay, right? And I think that a lot of people believe they are behind the curve in terms of rate decreases. And I'm curious if we're going to hear some of that. I'm also looking to hear if people are observing any cracks in the foundation like we are. We're starting to see weakness in the labor market. I'm obviously watching that data very closely. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm honing in on. So Jackson Hole, number one. Number two is earnings continue to roll out. Again, we're still seeing earnings growth, but when you strip away a lot of the bigger, larger companies out there, what does that look like? So again, I'm paying close attention to earnings here and just watching the evolution of that process. And then lastly, technicals. Right now, again, the S&P has kind of rebounded. We've made back a lot of the ground we've lost, not all of it, but we're back above some critical levels. So I'm really paying attention to technicals because they will drive, at least in the short term, the market action.
What's your trade of the day, Jared?
The trade I'm looking at today, and again, I'm playing a little bit safe here because, again, we're in volatile markets. This is an area people don't talk about, and it's the S&P 400, which are mid-cap stocks, and I'm trading it with the IVOO. And again, like the small caps, mid caps have grossly underperformed. They're only up 10% or so for the year, while the S&P is up 17. And the beautiful part is if you're scared of big tech and you want something a little less volatile, I'm liking the IVOO here, IVOO, the S&P 400 mid-cap index. Again, I'm playing it safe by buying the index because I'm a little nervous about some stocks right now. But I think as an investor and as a portfolio manager myself, we look to these sorts of things as, I don't want to call it defensive, but giving us a little bit of more of a balanced exposure to equities here in the States.
Going with an index play. Thank you, Jared.
Thanks, Angie. It's great to be with you.
Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.